obviously, I'm Brittany Ping. You guys just saw me as a Republican. Different hat. So I'm also involved in the organization. Mari's got a lot of these hats as well that we do. And so I so excited. We just got a 501c3 status for a sober home that I am on the founding board of in Manchester. And there is not a certification. There's not a state certification for sober homes. But if you get this private certification, then you're able to accept the state money that follows someone who comes out of recovery. So again, I'm not appealing to the state legislature to create a state license to operate a sober home. What we're hoping to do, because we are a nonprofit in the sober home space, it's different than what is happening in the state of New Hampshire. And to start to create, we're going through the NH Core certification process. It is a private certification that we're electing to do as a sober home because we want to receive state money. So it also brings us those obligations to accept the state money, but it is held privately. So again, I love that you opened yourself up for the social contract conversations. Man, it's one of those things where I'm voluntarily engaging in a certification process to accept state funds, but it is not a state certification. I'm not inviting, some, suit and tie corporate guy who's never, been through recovery or worked with people who have been in recovery or anything like that. I'm working with an organization founded to improve the sober home state in New Hampshire. Is there things that I believe could be improved in NH Core? Absolutely, 100%, but I'm going to be a part of that fight. Instead of, asking for the government to come and improve that, that industry, unfortunately, is what it is. It's an industry that's profiting over these people who are trying to get back on their feet. But anyway, that's me. So that's Freedom Movement New Hampshire. We just got our 501c3 status, so your donations are tax deductible. And we help, it's going to go down to 10 men. We're moving to a different location, but right now we're certified to help up to 24 men on the recovery journey. So that's one of the things that I'm doing to be a better neighbor. And I'm also involved. Mari will introduce Weart West.
So my name's Mari. I'm board president of Weart West. Brittany's also on the board with me. This is an organization we started about 4 years ago.
I think this is our 5th year, yeah.
Our 5th year. It's definitely grown a lot since our inception, but if you think about your values as like a liberty-minded person, someone that wants small government, you always get those questions of like, who's going to help the poor? And that's on us. Like, we are going to help each other as fellow humans, as fellow community members. So where do you see that in action in New Hampshire? And that's what being a good neighbor is all about. And that's why we started Weart West. We were a group of West Manchester residents that just wanted to see improvements, and we didn't want to rely necessarily on the government to do these improvements that we as just local citizens and residents could do. So something that our organization just started doing right off the bat was just neighborhood cleanups and park cleanups and just getting the word out. Like, you don't need to complain that there's trash in your streets. You can come together with your fellow community members and pick that up. So a big focus that we have is the environment. We are environmentalists. We do want to clean our streets in Manchester.
This is my favorite thing when Mari was like, we're environmentalists. And I was like, heck yeah, let's take it back. Yeah. Let's take it back. We're environmentalists.
Another thing we focused on is community building. We do a lot of events. So your idea was the trunk or treat.
Yeah.
So in West Manchester...
No, that was Marika. She bullied me, but...
You made it happen. In West Manchester, there's a lot of multifamilies. It's kind of a tricky place for kids to safely trick or treat. And so we wanted to bring the community together and build that camaraderie. Like, you have a stronger, safer community when you know your neighbors, when you're coming together, when you're working together. It doesn't matter if you're a free stater or not, but if you see people that maybe have a different perspective than you, but you're able to come together and have this good time with your family, that's a really strong thing for your community. So we have the trunk or treat. We have our
West
Manchester Day, which is like a field day where the community can come. We showcase different locations in West Manchester where people can come and play games with their families. Matt's idea was, Brittany's husband Matt came up with the idea of pet waste stations. So a big issue in West Manchester was pet waste in the streets and on the sidewalks. And so we were able to do this privately through private funding and on private lawns that owners approved us installing pet waste stations
that we manage on a biweekly basis. We make sure they're full of dog waste bags. We make sure the bags are empty, and they're highly used. They are well received. As a matter of fact, one of the buildings, so it was a property that we managed, it sold, and it's still on there. It's a new owner, right?
It's
and
like, hey, I got the dog poop bag thing.
We didn't need to we probably didn't pull a permit, but we didn't pull a permit. Here's the thing. I don't need government permission to improve my neighborhood.
That's right.
And that's what Weart West, it's about community involvement and engagement. And, really just taking the steps to say, and that's one of the beautiful things about Weart West is it's a board where somebody gets that idea and we empower each other to see it through. West Manchester Day, Patrick's, it was his kind of brainchild. We're going to do a summit. Yeah.
So we also are managing a new community garden. We help with another community garden. We host educational events there for kids and families to learn about how to grow your own food. So those are the things that we're doing, but every year we've been growing, and something that's been really amazing this year is people have started to notice our organization. The other groups around Manchester have been kind of like, hey, what's Weart West doing? Like, what's going on? And something that we noticed when we were interacting with these other groups is a lot of them are not connecting. And so what we're doing as community members that care about Manchester is how do we bring these groups together? And these aren't necessarily, like I said, like they're not free stater groups. These are just regular grassroots volunteer groups in the city. They care about the city just like we do. They're cleaning their parks. They've adopted their different parks in different parts of Manchester. But we want to connect with them. So we are organizing a summit. It's happening next month. It's called the Manchester Volunteer Leadership Summit. And it's finally a chance for all these groups to come together and just kind of brainstorm, pool ideas, pool resources.
Yeah, so this is another way, right? We as free staters, right, or if you didn't want to sign the pledge, it was to make maximum efforts for liberty in your lifetime, right? Your fullest practical effort. And some people it's really daunting, and some people they have one specific thing, or I kind of joked how involved do you want to be in the party? This is like a beautiful thing that has bloomed. Weart West or other nonprofits, because there are other ones started by free staters throughout the state where you kind of get to say, what's the thing that I can do? What is the thing that makes me a good neighbor? And you don't have to start a 501c3 and create events and, send wildflower seeds to 5,000 homes. And you don't have to do those things. But it's just that there's opportunities to get people out of that social media space where they want the government to come fix the thing and be the change in your neighborhood and say no, I can clean up the park. Or no, I can make sure that pet waste is taken care of on my street instead of, trying to elect someone who says, dog waste is going to be their number one priority.
I definitely appreciate Weart West. I have not done nowhere near the amount of cleanups that they have done. But what I love.
So Tammy, you can introduce the organization that you're part of. Yeah.
We have a city-owned park, very large city-owned park, pretty much across the street from where I live, that the city really doesn't take care of. Great trails. Dan walks the dog there. Louis Calitz walks the dogs there all the time and cleans the trails. It wasn't us. It was another woman was upset because there were homeless people pretty much encroaching onto her property. She got a bunch of us together and we formed Friends of Piscataqua River Park. We do work with the city because it is a city-owned land. But they pretty much let us do whatever we want. We're like, we're not doing this, and we're doing this. Dan wants a bridge. Dan wants a bridge over. He wants, a bridge to one of the islands. But this group of volunteers, and Mari's husband Patrick and Louis both are now on that board, along with myself. We're making a difference in this park that the city's never going to improve. We have, when they have the last event, there was something like 50 college kids there helping clean up. We get rid of the invasive vines and the bittersweet and all that stuff so that people in our community can enjoy the park, because why do we have it if we can't enjoy it? But Weart West comes out all the time and helps too.
One of the things, and he's not here anymore, but Robert Lustek was an early mover, and what was it? What was the town and the clock that he rebuilt? And so there's stories like this, and that's part of the reason why I think we've all stepped up in a bigger way too, is that it's a reminder that we come to these big conferences or we go to Pork Fest and we have a really good time. But, when people try to brand or move a free stater, it's really crazy because maximum liberty for all of us looks like being a part of our community and acting in our community and volunteering our time in our community, and just recognizing those pieces of it and pulling people into opportunities to get recognized for their service. We were part of, there was a guy that used to maintain the trails and he's getting older. But my point is that being a good neighbor is part of being a Free Stater. I think all of us hold that in our hearts, and I'm really glad you made us a part of the Make Liberty Win panel.